Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing as the Roman Republic. Last episode we did that to the UK. Now the UK is just only based in North Ireland, which of course is the worst lore of all time. We are going to be continuing trying to get Roman borders, but I just wanted to apologize to you guys, because 2000 construction, what is this? What is this? To be fair, what this is that it's harder to, put in the queue yourself, especially with the loud cars outside. But today we're going to be at least tripling construction. Remember when I said long ago that we were going to triple construction? I meant double. I meant to say double. I don't think we could triple it. But I think we could double it this episode at the very least. We are going to be going for Germany and doubling construction. And we're just conquering a whole bunch of stuff that we need to kind of restore Roman borders. We're going to need another fight with them after this. And I think this is the absolute last war that will actually take two conflicts with the same party. So in theory, we can do everything in 16 years. But it depends on how quickly we can enforce in some spots. We are starting to put in tanks everywhere. We have mechanized infantry in. One of the problems is you actually can't upgrade arty to tanks, and so it's actually super tedious to put in tanks, at least on the artillery version of tanks. But we have a few on our landing squad specifically. We're going to see if they can come in. We do have too many, allegedly. You can never really have too many tanks, can you? Except we actually do have too many. It's supposed to be a third. But we will be landing with these guys kind of in the rear, and we're hoping to get them in the rear relatively easily, because these units have gone from being like relatively bad combat units to being extremely good combat units, as we are swapping over to tanks, except we haven't gotten this one yet. This one's still on Lancers, which is less than ideal, but hopefully we can still make some landings and make some moves. I don't know how that Germany was so confident that they'd win this. Like, there was low chance. They were confident going into the war in terms of their back down chance, which was absolutely wild because they thought they had a better, kind of mobilization of troops, which, okay. I mean, I think maybe it's that they have a lot of divisions, but the divisions were just brutalized down. You know what? Last episode, they had just finished up a civil war. To be fair, their troops, their divisions probably just have, no units in them. Well, it says 80k here, and we are stomping the 80k. Maybe they're just not ready for tanks. Maybe they weren't ready for that. Maybe it's 16 years too early for Germany here. But we will be, getting through into this pretty easily, it looks like. And it looks like, oh man, they're already mad again, and they just had a civil war. The truth hurts. But it looks like we're kind of pushing from all directions. We even have these guys rapid advancing. This might be a little bit of a mistake, because they'll be rapid advancing into, these types of, double the numbers, because you can't borrow troops on offense, but you can borrow troops on defense. But there's so many fronts that they are just going to get stretched thin over the course of so many fronts. So I think that even though these rapid advance guys aren't really going to be able to borrow on offense, maybe just the 30k stack is enough to actually win battles. Or maybe not. It actually looks like we are losing progress on this front. So we'll probably just put those guys on all defense, or just one unit pushing in each of those divisions. So we're starting to get kind of into the end of the tech tree, and we just finished what is probably the best tech in the game as far as, the production tech, and that is compression ignition, which is going to be nice. Not that we especially need it. I suppose if we are going to try and blast construction, arc welding is actually decent, and so we're going to do that, even though it's kind of gratuitous at this point. But, so would getting aircraft carriers or battle fleet tactics. That would also be gratuitous. We already have paved roads and macroeconomics. I suppose antibiotics is okay. Kind of decent shout, so maybe we'll get that next. But we're kind of at the end of most of the useful techs, and then we'll probably just fill out on the labor-saving, flash freezing and dough rollers, which are pretty solid techs. Something like this, and this is probably going to be the last time we break down any type of tech discussion here, because from here it's really not going to matter too much. I mean, naval base max level, it's none of it's particularly relevant. I don't think we really like chemical weapons, because chemical weapons is maybe okay. Maybe we could 20 offense kill rate, yeah. Okay, yeah, maybe chem weapons is actually a decent shout. I think flamethrowers, if I recall correctly, uses a bit more oil than we are interested in, and so maybe this is going to be okay for us. Ah yes, who could forget about the national internationalism? The Roman socialists are, of course, welcome in Rome. 30% momentum to that will be added to the Communist Party. Roman relations to the Roman Republic, we call it self-love, will improve by 20. The Roman Republic will owe an obligation to the Roman Republic. We owe it to ourselves to go counsel Republic. And finally, communist ideology will be more likely to appear in the country. Let's do it. Also, we are about to get over 1 billion GDP here. As soon as we finish up this war, which is going to be quite soon, this will give us 100 billion GDP. You can see we have started to crank slower and slower and slower, and even slower, since we started increasing construction, we're up about 700 since the start of the episode, and we will be back when we're ready to enforce. Alright, and here we are, +9, ready to go, and watch that GDP, 969, nice, but you know what's even nicer than 969? 1 billy. Good dilly. There it is. We get the peace deal, and of course we get a big chunk of Germany. Now, this is not quite, full OG Roman borders. We do need to get a little bit more from them in Rhineland, I think, and also maybe Franconia. We can double check the tape, but I think it's just Rhineland and Franconia, and maybe even just Rhineland would suffice, to get the OG Roman borders in terms of what we need in order to get from Germany. Alright, unfortunately we lost our movement to enact Council Republic, and so we decided to go public schools instead, but then we just invited an agitator to renew the Council Republic movement, so we'll be doing that after we enact public schools, at which point I think we will have a really, really big portion of clout under the trade unionists and the Intelligentsia, especially because the trade unionists are about to become, empowered for doubling that workforce ratio in manufacturers industry throughput, which is going to be so nice. And the industrialists are still happy at this point. They're going to be unhappy when we go for this, but are they unhappy enough to, join a rev? It looks like not quite. They will be at -5. Actually, they probably still join the rev anyways, but this is an unfortunate, thing. But we are finishing off France here. I mean Gaul, as it were. We have just enough war goals to capture all the remaining states in Champagne, Isle-de-France, Orléans-Berry, Marie-Anjou, Poitou-Saintonge, and I don't know why I pronounced all those because I'm pretty sure I got them all wrong, and then also Rhone. We have enough to take all of this, and so now things are starting to really look very Roman looking. Alright. If we time out of that, that's not the end of the world. So this is going to be pretty good for us. Germany joined, which is kind of a nothing burger. We're not going to get anything off of Germany, but it's right after we lost our truce with them, or got our truce with them, so it's really not too big a deal that we're just going to effectively renew the truce. We've just put in a 200 stack on them. It's fine. No need to worry about it too much, and we should be occupying them shortly here. Except, actually, you know what? We should probably bring this 100 stack over to here rather than having it on here, because this is the cap. But I guess we're pushing it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So a simple swap to arc welding, and we have more than doubled construction now on this episode. So remember when we said we were just going to double construction instead of triple it? We were lying. We're going to triple it. Alright, so we have integrated Gaul into the Roman Republic, which is, of course, nice. Now we have a bunch of little uprisings. We have this Congolese one, we have this one in Uwe, and normally we would just kind of back down to these, but we also have one in Slovenia, and we actually need the Slovenian dirt, so we can't just back down to these and see our way out and, continue making progress, and instead we have to put down all these little fires, which is a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. We also get the Eiffel Tower, of course. Eiffel appears in the Roman Republic. I think we do this, get some loyalists, and this guy appears. It'll be demolished in less than 10 years anyways. I don't think we've built it. Did we build it? Or it's already been built. Alright, well, let's take a look. And we have an Eiffel Tower. Everyone remembers the Eiffel Tower of Rome, of course. One of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. So, following kind of putting down the stuff, we went to war with Slovene to, because they kept revving, and they just backed down, so that was great. We went after Ukraine, or are in the process of going after Ukraine, and look who joined against us, Peru, Bolivia, so we just decided to take a bunch of dirt against them. And then Germany started an offensive play, and then looking at kind of the Roman borders, I I'm not sure if we need Franconia. I think we need Rhineland, and so we swayed in to help Scandinavia in exchange for German Rhineland, and so we're kind of expecting to get that here. Actually, wait. Not that play, this play. And they want to return Schleswig-Holstein, return German Schleswig-Holstein, whatever, regime change. But we have in ours here, conquer Rhineland, which is going to be nice because we're effectively getting to skip both the, kind of escalation period, because we're getting to fight 2 wars at once here, but also get to skip the truce. And so, we're coming down to the wire here. This might even end up being the last episode, depending on how things go. I suppose we do need to annex Austria and Hungary, who we reduced autonomy on this episode, so maybe it's a few too many years. But we have like a war with Spain we need to do for 3 provinces. We have Sahrawi, who got independence. We have to annex the Ottomans. We got to annex Catalonia. We got to go after Montenegro and Bosnia, and then of course Switzerland. But that's it. Then we have Roman border. Oh no, wait. We also have to go after Iraq. But after that, we have Roman borders. That's all we have, all that remains. Heavy lies the construction tripling crown. This is the speed we're going at. We're going at the speed of slow through here. We did enforce on our boyos, kind of down here, as it were, gaining all of that, and so we are making progress here. I'm trying to remember, I'm trying to keep track of all the places that I know for sure have have coal and iron when I'm kind of auto-expanding, because the idea is you really want to have a lot of these auto-expands in places that have both of these, that way, eventually you're going to be able to steal there. It's a little bit rough. I think we also want to put down a smattering where we have a lot of peasants in particular, because we're going to want to construct a lot there anyways, and so we will benefit from the construction speed. But it's looking like we are in a few moments, and by a few moments I mean several minutes, because this is the speed we're going at. We are going to be hitting the 3K or the 3X construction mark here, and also enforcing on Germany. A lot of our fronts got unassigned repeatedly on this left side, and so they pushed us in, and then we had to reassign to push them in, and so that was a little bit rough, but we are looking to grab the capital here. We have 99% control, and we get graduated taxation, which we are hoping can actually go after the clout of the Industrialists. And the reason we want to do this is long ago, in a galaxy far away, we promised going Council Republic, and we are having so much difficulty getting onto this, because anytime we try and put it in, or take a look, loud car outside, the rev is just way too big, and is not one we could tolerate. That would happen if we went onto it. And so even right now, if we go onto it, it's going to cause a massive rev, because this is 50% and they're in rev mode. The curia has gotten a lot weaker though. The civic nobility is not that strong. The petite bourgeoisie is not that strong. So I think what we're going to do now is we are going to try and marginalize the petite bourgeoisie and the Roman curia. And then sometime down the line, because we kind of wasted our agitator invite getting this guy, well, this guy's kind of important because he'll give us a 100% enactment chance on Council Republic. We want to invite a jingoist, or sorry, not a jingoist, an armed forces guy, who is going to be a communist or a vanguardist or this type of thing. And if we could do that, then I think we can get it through, because we will only have to get it through the Industrialists then. Or a marginalized petite bourgeoisie, a marginalized curia, a marginalized landowner, and that's not too bad, because once they get marginalized, they will stop getting clout from votes. So we're going to rake back some of our authority in some spots, and instead, we have been greener grass and encourage manufacturing Lazio this entire time, by the way, but instead of a couple of these consumption taxes, we are going to instead suppress probably the petite bourgeoisie, because the Roman curia is on their way out anyways. If we take a look, following us getting rid of religious schools and going total separation, their clout's been slowly decreasing. Alright, we decided to input some cheese, or a little bit of a kind of cheesy clout manipulation. We have fired every general that's part of the PB or the Devout, and we have promoted and recruited a whole bunch of Intelligentsia and trade unionists, and we're expecting to see this clout really change as we unpause. And you see this come up, you see these ones come back down, the Devout marginalizes instantly, and we are just trying to set up a situation where we can, go for go for Council Republic. And these guys, being pretty close to getting out of the clout, once they are out of the clout, you know, they go basically just plummet once you get marginalized, because then you lose access to votes. And so, you know, kind of following this, I think we will be able to pass it through a rev of just the Industrialists. But also, right before we go to try and pass Council Republic, what we can do is we can fire all the remaining generals that are part of the Industrialists, which actually there's a ton of generals. And so this is actually probably a big part of why their clout was so sticky. We spent most of this run, you know, being on wealth voting, and during the portion of time we were on wealth voting, we accumulated an enormous amount of powerful industrialist generals. And so if we get rid of all of them, well, they'll hate our guts, because every time you exile, you get a huge negative modifier. You see these guys are unhappy. A lot of this is from retiring the commanders, and then you see these guys are really angry from retiring commanders. So as soon as we do this, we will lose access to any sort of industrialist help, and we will force a rev, and we're just trying to do it, put ourselves in a position where the armed forces don't kind of join in the rev, and a rev has like under 300 strength or under 250 strength, and if it's under that, I think we can go Council Republic. But right now, what will happen is it'll be just way too strong a rev. But this is already down, you know, about 8% from where it was at when we were looking at it before. So we might actually end up getting bricked by more and more of these, you know, revolutions or uprisings happening, because kind of looking at it, 11 years doesn't really feel like that much time. I know we're so close here, but like, this is a little bit rough. Whenever this happens, it's just like catastrophically bad, because it locks us up for like 200 days, and it's just a nothing burger thing. Like, we are more than strong enough to deal with this like revolution, and then also, you know, or the uprising, and then also conquer someone, but this is just an aspect of the game right now. We're putting in more and more construction. I don't know why, but we're doing it. It's gratuitous and unnecessary, but why not blast a little when we're kind of at the tail end here? Maybe we can get something done. I mean, SOL keeps climbing. This is good, and a lot of the areas that have low SOL are the newer areas. You know, I think we started off this episode with like 200 million pop, so we're up like 66 million pop on the episode. You know, of course, I think it's been about 5 years. We're up like I think we had like 900 million, so up nearly 50% GDP. So really popping off, you know, with access to basically all the important tech. All right, so the new election finishes, and I think we're about ready to go for, you know, this here. Council Republic, we will now have 100% to pass, because we already have a movement for it. It will radicalize the industrialists, however, which means kind of inclined to just fire all of their generals off anyways, which will make them extremely upset. And then what we could do is we could put the armed forces in government for when we pass this. And look how legitimate we are with the armed forces and government. I think we're going to do this, and then we're going to reduce taxes. The point being is now we're over this amount of righteous. We're going to fire all our industrialist generals, and then we will be able to pass. The armed forces won't be able to join because they won't be kicked out of government, because they're not going to be minus 10, whereas if they were minus 7, they could join, and it's just going to be a matter of, you know, the industrialists basically, and that's kind of the only meaningful clout, versus the Intelligentsia and the trade unionists and 100% enactment chance. So we are going to be, you know, very quickly getting through it. Now, before we start this rev off, or start this, you know, movement off, we're going to fire all the generals. We're going to come in and we're going to fire anyone who is an industrialist. We are going to retire all of these guys. So there will be a great purge. All right, we have completely purged the military of any industrialists. You can see they are now minus 16 angry. They are really mad. But it's not going to matter here, and this is highly committal, so if this doesn't work, we will just absolutely get crushed. But we maybe could have even just gone single party state first, but we're going to do it. We're going to do this. We are going to go Council Republic. Now, we should have about 100% enactment chance, because we do have 100% enactment chance, because we already had a political movement for it, so all's left to get them paused. These guys will be super mad, but their clout is going to absolutely collapse. Why are we bolstering instead of suppressing? we clicked the wrong button here. But their clout should get absolutely hammered. Yeah, minus 6% from the purging of all the generals. And if we take a look at kind of the remaining clout, we have like 80% of the clout in government currently that cannot rev against us, which means that, you know, when this spooky rev thing comes up, which is going to come up eventually, I said it's going to come up eventually, at some point in time between now and, let's get rid of this Swiss uprising, but when this comes up, we'll have to see who we want to go after. But when this comes up, it won't be fast enough. It might be over 100%, but it's not 100% is not going to tick up fast enough, or a level 100 rev is not going to tick up fast enough to overcome the fact that we only need 3 ticks in order to get this through. All right, so we got a little bit unlucky on our first tick of Council Republic because our boyo died. The guy we had, who was communist, died, and we ended up promoting the agitator. But the first tick, he was dead for, so we actually didn't get a success on it. But what we're talking about here is this is only going to gain, every time full circle tick, this is only going to gain 12 progress. And so even though these ticks come faster, we're going to be able to get Council Republic through, you know, tick, 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 hopefully without kind of any further problems. We also do have the East India Company, or the Roman East India Company, having a little bit of an uprising, which is mildly unfortunate, but it kind of coincided pretty well with us declaring on Switzerland, and so we should be able to, you know, enforce on both kind of close to the same time, which means we won't lose too much time in terms of the war which we had. We also got lucky because the Ionian Islands, they just capitulated to us, which is nice because that saved us a little bit of time in terms of the war. We also... Tunisia also had an uprising here against Spain, so kind of unfortunate that there's 2 that have broken free from Spain, because we have to do 1 war for each of these, which is going to occupy us and be, you know, a little bit unfortunate for us. But we are getting in here, and we are expecting to enforce relatively quickly on these guys. We'll see how it goes. Yay, war crimes. This is what we got for using chem warfare. All's fair in love of war, I think, is probably what we do. Ooh, the trait war criminal. I don't know if we've gotten this trait before. Is this new? This might be new. I know it's probably not new. We've just probably not noticed it. I don't think we want to wreck West Slovakia, and we don't really care... we don't really care about this guy getting kill rate. Oh, and this guy's our 1 industrialist. Yeah, we'll say he gets tried for his crimes. We thought the purge was over. The purge is never over. Just kind of wanted to give... we're going after Austria, obviously. We're about ready to kind of finish up Council Republic, or we're trying to crank through it. And just wanted to kind of take a quick look through the state of affairs of the world, because we haven't looked at this in a while. You know, the people who are doing okay are the people who are not in Europe. Basically, everyone in Europe has been crushed. But you know, Africa's thriving with a bunch of independents. You know, we have Congo independent. Look at all these independents that are doing quite well. Transvaal broke away from us. Is these guys get banished to the Shadow Realm? Okay, no, they didn't, but we'll move them away. You know, people are doing relatively okay in other areas. Mexico is a subject of ours. Great Britain couldn't really hold on to their subjects very well, because the only land they have is, of course, Belfast. The truth hurts. And, you know, the couple things that they annexed that have not yet revved away. But they really broke apart because they can't maintain a market, really. I mean, there's a British market present here. The Russian market's been crushed. I don't even know where France is at. I don't think they've been annexed, but, you know, this is kind of how things are going. If we take a look at the charts know all, and look at the prestige, Germany and USA are the only other 2 GPs at this point. We have 15k prestige, and we're not even, like, prestige pushing. If we wanted to prestige push really hard, we could get Germany and USA probably to get out of this. But we're not really pushing that too hard. Let's see, worker brigades. Okay. And then, you know, Brazil is a major power, Russia is a major power, Heavenly Kingdom, like, look at this, prestige level. And the ones, the 3 that are below and minor power, these are all our subjects. Maybe we shouldn't have defended the Roman East India Company, because it did take us a few months, and we are a little bit concerned, and we're concerned about that. Oh, well, I think we're going to tidy this up. This should be fine. They're just like... Yeah, they're moving to the front. We should be annexing on them. We might give up Guatemala here, though, because it's not really that important. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on Wait, why are we getting the Permbrine epidemic? We just dealt with that. Okay, whatever. But we will be enforcing on Austria pretty soon here. Alright, so we have an interesting kind of inflection point. We're about to pass Council Republic, and we just barely kind of snake through this revolution, or like it would have... we would have gotten, you know, plus 11%, it's at 93, one bad roll, and we popped, like, this absolutely massive rev, right? And so, good on us. But when you... Oh, no, wait, we're not swapping yet. The thing I was going to bring up is, when you swap off of laissez-faire, which we're not swapping off of yet, because we're not doing co-op ownership yet, but when you swap off, you lose access to a company. And so, but it doesn't actually delete the companies you have slotted in, so what you have to do is you have to lock in which companies you have when you make this transition. We're not actually making it yet, so I guess we don't have to worry. But we are going to fight Germany again, and I think that this might be the third or fourth time we've fought Germany this episode. Man, it's all kind of blending together. I guess it has been 7 years, but we've fought Germany a lot, and we're going to be taking a whole lot from them. Give them everything. Oh, no, wait, that's Kutch. Where's the German fight? This is the German fight. It's just a different German fight. We swayed in on this one for Conquer Silesia, but that's not the German fight we're talking about. This is the German fight we're talking about, where we are trying to conquer Sawari, which is this, you know, got to clean up the lettering. The lettering is not going to look really nice unless we conquer absolutely everything. So kind of the next priorities here are going to be Spain, Catalonia, Tunisia, and that's kind of it, because if we fail, we'd rather have good lettering and fail in style, you know, to get Roman borders than, you know, grab like Hungary and like have this like lettering, although this lettering's okay. We also put in Conquer Franconia, Hesse, Brunswick, Saxony, Anhalt, etc. Mostly etc. So I guess we will take the final time we are going to be going Council Republic. 97% progress. The big slow. I was just going to try and show this in real time, but I forgot the big slow is in full effect, and so you know, we will have to wait. And there we go. We get Council Republic, baby. And so now we can unlock cooperative ownership, and we get a new chancellor. We get a new chancellor. Okay, so this guy's in charge now. Fair enough. But yep, we have finally gone the real red Roman Republic, the reddest Roman Republic. We get ourselves a star. Big ups and big nice to us for getting a star. A shiny star. So what we're going to do is we are going to take a look at what we can get in terms of a military guy who is also a communist, and we're going to invite this guy to government, and he will start a movement to enact cooperative ownership, which is going to make it easier for us to enact cooperative ownership once the movement starts. We did this also with, you know, the one we just passed, and now we have this movement for cooperative ownership. It doesn't have a lot of radicalism. We've kind of gotten rid of a lot of radicals, especially going off that, and the clout of the industrialists is really low, so I think we should probably be able to get off of laissez-faire right now and go cooperative ownership, which huge endorsement and probably going to be another 100%er in terms of support. Yep, so it'll just take 3 ticks, so we will be in good shape. But I think we're going to conclude the episode here, even though we're kind of in the middle of a big war. At this point, none of the wars are especially big. This episode, we 3.5x construction, and we made ourselves redder than red. This is the reddest Roman Republic. Whoosh. And so that was the kind of the big things we did today. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do the YouTube algorithm thing, and have a good day.